quickly. Like I want to explain actually how I found a job. So for me, I'm actually a JavaScript developer, which means that I tend to actually do more front end than back. Right now, I'm trying to do the full stack part of it. So I am myself not that experienced, right? So in my terms, you might want to also learn the full spectrum in the future, but it's okay. It's okay as a new grad to actually start with only front or only back at some point, right? So you have to choose straight out of university, right? So let me explain to you, for example, how you can do it for GS at least, right? So if I think about it right now, I would say get like a good grasp of JavaScript programming. So what I would call now a grasp is actually everything from closures to basically functions, function components. For example, if you're learning like React, if you're learning, for example, JavaScript, you need to know a bit about ECMAScript. You need to, for example, know about classes and how they work, how you inherit stuff. Also a bit about web development in general, how the Internet of Things also works, and also maybe the internet in general, right? That's like a wrapper for everything that you want to do. So you start from that base and you say to yourself, okay, now I do the grasp, like I know how can I grasp through like a course with JavaScript, and I can actually understand very well how to code in JavaScript. But still, that doesn't make you a very good developer, because someone can come to you in an interview and start talking about micro queues, it's called, like micro queues, yeah. And these queues basically are the stuff that you learn when you know how system works, like FIFO systems, like FIFO, like processes and stuff like that, first in, first out, and how you actually handle your backpack of processes into JavaScript, how the function gets actually defined first and then executed, and then if something is executing and it has a promise, how it works, and something will probably go to the macro stack and so on and so forth. So these are advanced stuff, and these are the good stuff that you probably don't want to know when you are a junior. All you have to do, basically, is to learn how closures work, and how basically to define a function, how to actually understand ECMAScripts, and to create like certain simple stuff. A class component, for sure, you need actually at least to make a constructor, make maybe like some methods, and anything else will be a plus, right? I'm talking literally like as if you got away from university today and you are trying now to get a job in front end or back end, right? That's the first thing, to grasp your language. Basically, you can do Java here and you grasp your language basically on a different level than mine. So you'll be like, hey, I will understand how to use Spring Boot very well, so I create RESTful APIs and stuff like that. So on and so forth. So you can literally go dive deep there. Okay, so the second thing is what nobody tells you, and it's really needed. Some of you actually get out of university and stop, like literally stop, think that they are done. Okay, now they get a job, but it's not like that. You actually get practical experience. So you call it the GPE, get practical experience. What you have here is basically kind of like a portfolio in GitHub that you create for yourself, where you build at least that to-do list, and you build your own portfolio website. And that will be like the point where you say to yourself, okay, now at least I know how to create like my own website from scratch. And that's how I actually understood most of the React principles, like the React hooks, React context, all of that, because I created actually my own website and I had to create a theme context, for example, right? So it depends from person to another how you can do this. But overall, as I said, you grasp the language first. Secondly, you get like a practical experience, and then via like doing your portfolio, you will start already thinking about the third step, which is networking. Because networking can be like a very good step. Why? Because through networking, you will be able actually to find other people to get noticed, which means that if you, for example, go and add yourself like 500 new friends, this is easy. Like you can do it even with a script on LinkedIn or something. You will be able actually to be noticed by other companies just because that person knows a person, and it's like a network, right? but also rather network in your own field. So network in maybe data science if you're a data scientist, or network in JavaScript if you are basically if you are basically maybe a JavaScript developer like me, and so on and so forth. And yeah, so the thing is that I want to also, like in the fourth step, maybe I will talk about it now, is the fact that while you are networking, this is what I always say to people: post some stuff, like post some history, like make your own history when it comes to posts, because if someone want to know something about you, he will probably check your LinkedIn posts, your GitHub posts. There is no post in GitHub, but at least even Twitter or something like that. You don't know how much these people do. So for example, for me, whenever I get an interview, I know the person that I'm gonna interview with. I go and literally ghost him, see what he does. Is he very good? Is he very bad? I check his maybe dev.co account and stuff like that. And yeah, learn a bit about what kind of like interview I will have with him, because if I find him like architecturally more focused on deployment, for example, I will throw some words like, hey, I used Argo CD in my project to create the CD pipeline or whatever like that. So it's kind of like something like that. You try to be smart, right? What else? Pro Evils, he said, how do you know about FIFO? Yesterday you weren't familiar with the queues in general. Actually, yesterday I read a lot about full stack development after the stream, and I learned a lot of things about IP configs and micro queues, and also how what they call the backpack of processes for JavaScript, and how actually the micro and macro queues work. And yeah, that's my daily kind of thing, like, because for me it takes me sometimes like to grasp something, I need to reread. So I might not be the best developer that giving you these kind of advices, but at least also it can be good that you can reach my level very fast, because I'm telling you exactly what I did. Yeah, then I think then it will become obvious, because if you did all of this, I think you will find a job easy. Not find a job, but at least you will be considered for a job. The next thing, we are talking, some people actually here on Twitch, on TikTok, by the way, we are live while recording this video, are asking me if can I explain actually what I'm doing. I was explaining like the steps that I will follow to get a job if I didn't have a job. Okay, so when I say JS, and this is why I also want to talk about this, my profile, it typically is totally different from what other profiles I see on the market. Why? Because I feel like I learned JavaScript by myself most of the time. So I tend to jump from a topic to another, and I jump to the topic that I feel comfortable with, right? So JavaScript developers can also choose from a variety of front-end frameworks, which means that the structure built in an application as a front-end developer that I think about is probably different from another person who started directly with Next.js, for example, right? So yeah, that's kind of like the lane part that I always talk about, like pick your lane, which means like your best framework. Like if I say Next.js, kind of like your best like a package that you can use to build your application. And then if you know that you need auth, pick one, pick Supabase, pick I don't know, Vercel has auth, maybe pick better auth that we are using, and pick one at least, right? Yeah. Also, there is one more thing about JS that I maybe want to mention, is the what we call also build tools, because sometimes people start asking about Vite, like Vite, Bun, for examples. Bun is a runtime plus a package manager. Vite is, I think, a runtime that replaces, I don't know, does it replace Bubble or something there, you know? So as you see, like it transpiler, right? And bundling and minification of files and stuff like that. Some people will ask you, like, what is the difference between building in React app before versus like building versus Vite, right? You can actually get it, because you would say to yourself, hey, I think that building via Vite will actually propose that minification part, because how can I write that? Minify, yeah. Because that's what Vite writes in their website, right? So it's like 3 words usually: minify, build, bundle, transpile better than React app or something like that. I try to market each other based on what the other mistakes of the other package are making right now. All right, so then we go to the third part that I think will also get you a good job if you actually put some I was actually talking about testing today also with a friend, so tests also are important. So it will be nice if you show how you can render a test very cool, like maybe use vtest UI or maybe vtest headless, which runs like the tests on the headless way, basically on the CLI. And that's also one thing that shows that you know stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's a very cool topic, because some of you will be actually even into like tools like Cypress, for example, which is a very good tool that does end-to-end testing. So at least E2E is end-to-end. At least you know the difference, right? So end-to-end is behind my back. All right. Didn't you do a CS degree or something similar? Yeah, I did mathematical modeling degree. So for me, it was like mathematical modeling, which was basically working with APIs, but via like tools like, yeah, it was kind of, if I was going to the data science way, like we had the session with Databricks, for example, where we talk about how we can minify the data, or not like that. How can you, for example, get noisy data, right? And pass it via like a tool here that you create yourself to output very good data, like structured data, right? So that where I was. So basically it's algorithmics more than actually web development or whatever. Normalization, yeah, kind of like that. So you're normalize, and plus in French we say affination, like affinity of data. I don't know even how to explain it, but that's it. How you normalize the data like that. So my only session where I actually got introduced in university for web development was with Visual Basic. I think there was like this template thing that you had to build with like a program that works on the desktop, and it was a Windows machine. So we did Visual Basic, and we did also some C++ to learn a bit about programming in general, right? But GS I didn't learn at school. And it has nothing to do with what I learned in school, actually. So that's it. That's my second thing, right? Maybe the last thing that I want to say here, if you are actually doing everything that I just told you, try to be like versatile. This is one thing that I want to highlight, because if you become really versatile, you know what you want, right? You want to become a front-end developer, but you also know how to what does for example Spring Boot does, or what does RabbitMQ does, or what does Argo CD does, or maybe Azure a bit, or AWS a bit. That's good, because at least even general knowledge will be really appreciated by the person who will hire you, right? There's one thing is that also that I would say to people, are you interested? Like literally interest is really important, because if you're not interested in what you're gonna do, then you fuck up 100%. I mean, literally, you will work, go home, and then it becomes like a job that is 9 to 5 for you, like who delivers outside like pizzas right now is the same as you just deliver and you go home, and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, what else? Third thing, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, this is one thing that I want to also say. Don't be the best, be the average. It's fine to be average person, kind of average, I forgot the A. It's also good to be an average person. I think that's fine to be not the best, because at some point you will be the best. So don't think too much, don't overthink it. Overthinking is a killer, and I think that's problem, right? So yeah, that's it. That's all I want to share with you. I recorded this actually right now as a session that I will actually put onto my YouTube, or maybe I will put it into my TikTok as well. So you will find the same thing that I was talking about right now into TikTok videos, and I would really be happy to answer any questions in the future. So thanks for being awesome and asking these cool questions.